Today, we will once again take a look at interesting footage that captures a moment, how a small Ukrainian FPV drone blew up an entire Russian soldiers in battle. Chilling footage showed the Russian tank making its way across the battlefield when it gets suddenly blown to smithereens. The T-72 is known as the most widely used main battle tank in the world, according to the Tank Museum in Dorset. While manufactured in 6 countries, it serves the armies of 35 nations and has fought in all major wars of the last 20 years. In the hair-raising clip, the drone could be seen going unnoticed as it chased the T-72 before striking it with pinpoint accuracy. A giant fireball then engulfed Vlad's tank, reducing it to a smoldering hulking shell as black smoke billowed from the site. User at Albafella1 shared the intense strike on X, Twitter, saying the crew on board the tank reportedly survived. It comes after Putin said he is ready to launch nuclear weapons if he feels the West is threatening Russia's sovereignty, in his most chilling WW3 threat yet. But the latest series of battlefield disasters indicate that Vlad's creaking military may not be as strong as his nuclear arsenal, as it is racked with corruption and its vehicles and aircraft are often poorly maintained. Just yesterday, one of his planes crashed in a fireball after flames were seen spurting from one of its engines. The large Illinois 76 aircraft is widely used by the Russian military as a transport plane for the war in Ukraine. While dramatic footage captured the plane plunging from the sky with flames spitting from one of its engines in Ivanovo, Russia. A spokesman confirmed there were 8 crew and 7 passengers on board when it crashed. It was due to be carrying out a regularly scheduled flight when the plane crashed at around 1 p.m. local time. In February, a valuable trove of Putin's war weapons were blown up by just a handful of kamikaze drones. The Ukrainian military wreaked havoc on a Russian hangar, destroying the high-level equipment from Putin's war chest. Footage showed the deadly kamikaze drone entering the hangar and hovering around what appeared to be the rare Russian BMP-T Terminator tank before shredding it up into pieces. Earlier that month, Ukraine destroyed a column of Russian tanks and armored vehicles in a single blitz using drones and missiles. Ukraine unleashed pinpoint strikes on Putin's convoy maneuvering near the frontline in Russian-held Donetsk region in a 2-hour onslaught. The blitz in the Novomykhailivka area, mainly inflicted by FPV kamikaze drones, has outraged pro-Kremlin war watchers. 3 T-72 tanks were taken out along with 5 amphibious tracked armored fighting vehicles and an infantry fighting vehicle. Meanwhile, 2 more modernized amphibious tracked armored fighting vehicles were also wrecked, one by an anti-tank guided missile. Billowed Telegram channel in Ukraine said, the Russian column was spotted around 12:50. At 15:20 the convoy was broken up. And in January, another Russian tank was obliterated, turning into a massive fireball that sent its turret flying 100 feet into the air. The dramatic footage was taken during an attack near Bakhmut, when a Ukrainian kamikaze drone wiped out a T-72 tank. On the other hand, it also shows Russian soldiers were filmed running away from their post on the border with Ukraine after a rebel ground incursion using drone FPV. However, in a humiliating day for Vladimir Putin, an armed incursion by Ukraine-based Russian opponents of the Kremlin unnerved a border region just days before Russia's presidential election. The cross-border ground assault weakened President Vladimir Putin's argument that life in Russia has been unaffected by the war, though he remains all but certain to win another 6-year term after eliminating all opposition. The Russian Defense Ministry said that Moscow's military and security forces killed 234 fighters while thwarting the incursion. In a statement, the ministry blamed the attack on the Kyiv regime and Ukraine's terrorist formations, insisting that the Russian military and border forces were able to stop the attackers and avert a cross-border raid. It also said the attackers lost 7 tanks and 5 armored vehicles, but a video posted by the Freedom of Russia Legion showed Putin's troops running away from the scene on foot. The reports of border fighting earlier on Tuesday were murky, and it was impossible to ascertain with any certainty what was unfolding in Russia's Kursk and Belgorod regions. Cross-border attacks in the area have occurred sporadically since the war began and have been the subject of claims and counterclaims, as well as disinformation and propaganda. But soldiers who Kyiv officials say are Russian volunteers fighting for Ukraine claim to have crossed the border. The Freedom of Russia Legion, the Russian Volunteer Corps, and the Siberian Battalion released statements and videos on social media claiming to show them on Russian territory. They said they wanted a Russia liberated from Putin's dictatorship, but the authenticity of the videos couldn't be independently verified. Fighters coming out of Ukraine attempted to reach the town of Tetkino, which lies close to the border, according to the governor of Russia's Kursk region, Roman Starovoyt, and he said Tetkino was being shelled. There was an attempt by a sabotage and reconnaissance group to break through. There was a shooting battle, but there was no breakthrough, he said in a video message on Telegram. The Russian Defense Ministry said the Tetkino attacks were driven back, but provided no further details. It also said Ukrainian fighters made at least 4 attempts to cross into the Belgorod region, but all attacks were repelled by warplanes, artillery, and missiles. The representative of Ukraine's intelligence agency, Andriy Yusov, told Ukrainska Pravda that the military groups are made up of Russian citizens. Meanwhile, Kyiv has appealed to its Western allies to help bolster its air defenses to fend off systematic Russian aerial attacks on key infrastructure throughout the 2-year invasion. Regional officials in Russia said Ukraine had also fired artillery and drones at the Belgorod border region. Governor Vyacheslav Gladkov said there was some minor damage, but no casualties.